What does anybody here know about NFTs? Anything? It's a really, really, really big thing right now, these days. And I'm going to talk about it. But when I talk about this, I want you to be aware that I'm speaking from a place of learning and not necessarily knowing everything that I'm talking about as I am exploring this space so that I can be able to share the process in my progress or progress in my process as I'm going about learning so many new things that interest me, documenting and creating something I'm not. Instead of creating something I'm not, I'm documenting it and sharing it with you for your benefit. What the hell is that red stuff? Is that a hair tie in that shit? What the fuck, man? Oh, that is wild. Sorry, just show you some shit to start this with. Man. Alright, let's try and stretch this out here. Okay. So, if you don't know anything about NFTs, they're basically something that you can trade for no financially backed value. So they can really change in value at any time. It's a PNG for the most part at this given state, or a JPEG file, but it's just so fascinating. Look, we got Zamperini here. This person, I read his book, I watched his movie. It's very inspiring. But there are many other inspiring people that are still here with us today. Remember your past, but progress into the future, eh? NFTs are the future. Let's just put it that way. And the value that these things hold, it's got unlimited potential. Not just monetarily, but with what blockchain technology is doing, you can do practically anything. Considering the world is moving into an artificial intelligence simulation with metaverse and VR and augmented reality, this is only the early beginning stages. That's why I bring it to your attention now, because considering that it's early, you could be an early adopter. You could be somebody who gets in early and benefits all the way, just like how things are happening with cryptocurrency. Except, you may have noticed that the markets, not only in cryptocurrency, but the S&P 500 went down. The S&P 500 went down by 11%, which is pretty scary. I don't know too much about markets and economics and financials, but a lot of people are panicking. So, considering that's going down and cryptocurrency has extreme fluctuations, that has the possibility to go up even better. I think it's a better bet, just from understanding how invaluable investing in stocks can be compared to NFTs, because NFTs are such a big thing for the future. That's where things are going to be going, for people to have their own independent resourcefulness, to be able to fund their own projects. People can create their own project with NFTs and give it to somebody. They buy it, basically like a stock, except stocks you don't get anything except for you're investing your money, right? But you actually get this token of appreciation that is an actual cool project. And then that owner of the token, the creator, gets to then execute on giving you value back as this token increases or decreases in value. And they can tie in smart contracts or these agreements that would help benefit the user, the owner, the consumer, and they can always add more. For example, Gary Vaynerchuk's, Gary V's one of my favorite people, okay? His VFriends Series 1 originally was tied into a smart contract for being able to attend his V conference. in 2022, 2023, and 2024. That's 3 years of attending a conference just by buying this NFT and holding it. If you hold it, you can attend all 3. If you sell it, and after you've attended one, you can only attend that one, unless you buy another one. Now, there were like close to 11,000 of these things. Less sold because Gary held on to some so that he can give them away later. They're called GOOs, G-O-O tokens. Gary originally owned. And now, just within the past month, these same tokens and NFTs that you can use to get into an exclusive, because there's less than 11,000 of them, private, basically incredible conference that's never been done as good before, because Gary's done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of conferences, and now he made his own first and finally, and he did it on the backing of his IP, intellectual property, VeeFriends, which is bigger than, it's going to be bigger than his VaynerMedia. It's going to be bigger than all of his other projects, like working on Wine Library and Wine Text and helping his father and everything he's done previously. This is going to be more important than everything else he's done, because he's executing upon it, actually executing upon it, and adding value to the people who are the consumers for the next 45 years. And you look at a project like this, and you see, okay, so now, not only is he giving us this one NFT, that you paid for, of course, if you paid for it at launch, at mint date, which is basically not the date that it was specifically created and added to the blockchain, but pretty much it was added to the blockchain, and that's when people first were able to obtain it from the creator. Minting, it's called. And the actual mint date, you paid a floor price half an ETH. And I was just looking at some of these NFTs, and the floor price right now is 14 ETH. ETH is valued somewhere between $2,000 and $2,200 right now, because it went for a crash, it went for a nice plummet, just like everything else right now. Everything's going down, but it will bounce back up. We're still in the bull market, it is my belief, because I watched someone named Alexander Lorenzo, and he uses facts on YouTube talking about cryptocurrency, and it is really, really, really good information. He makes good calls, very good calls. So, VeeFriends, for example, they gave you this one NFT, but we later found out this previous month that we're going to be getting another 3 NFTs with that, which is actually each VCon conference ticket for each individual year will be its own NFT. And you're going to get 3 of them if you choose to hold for all 3 years. That's really fucking cool, because then those have new value. And if you can think, you can add smart contracts to any one of these at any time. So if you happen to own this ticket from having gone to the 2022 event and it's now 2025, and he decides, because you happen to own this ticket and you're holding it, and we're releasing new IP for being able to get your new VeeFriend, which is going to allow you into the new VCon, you're going to get this 50% off discount, and you can also bring one person with you. He can add that. He can do that if you really wanted to. Of course, you wouldn't get the most value back from giving people discounts and allowing people to come free, now would you? But it's an option. Smart contracts you can really do anything with. So you can always add value to the IP. Now, you look at an artist. I mean, I've watched some of Gary's podcasts around performing artists, music artists. This is different, of course, from this whole thing is a renaissance for artists, whether it's artistically drawing, painting, all that good stuff, digitally crafting something, or it's the actual music industry. This is a renaissance for all of them. Now, you look at what Budweiser did with their NFTs. They're literally called royalty. Budweiser royalty NFTs. I think that's the name. And considering that, and they're in the music industry, there's 22 artists that they dropped. They dropped these NFTs, not for half an ETH, like VeeFriends, back in May of 2021. But what they did do is they released these NFTs for about $500. including the gas price. Gas is used to be able to submit a transaction onto the blockchain and speed it up. The more you pay gas, the more likely you get your transaction to complete, because there's people mining this currency, basically, so that you can be able to make your transaction go through ahead of them. So right now, I think they have it on the smart contract that you can be able to use this to connect with the people who are the artists themselves. And then you can actually meet them to a greater extent one-on-one, depending on which one you hold and the rarity of it. But with that, they can always add more. Now, considering they're performing artists, and there's 22 of them, people who bought in early are basically early adopters. They're early fans, right? So if they choose to add a contract that says, you now get paid out royalties, and you can earn up to X% of however much they make on their music indefinitely. Wouldn't you want that? It's crazy. Look at this. I think I was here at this theater. Just let me stop for a second. At this theater here, sometime when I was in high school. Kind of cool. For a field trip. Okay, so back to artists. If they wanted to add a smart contract where you can get paid out royalties, instead of having a record company go and take 80% of your revenue and give you 20% of your revenue off of royalties. Royalties are basically if something gets streamed, or somebody listens to your track, or they use it somewhere in a video or something like that, you'll get paid out a certain amount of pennies for each play. But of course, the pennies are like a percentage of pennies for each play. So it's really small amount of money, but it adds up. So let's just say you get 20% of the royalties between a pool of 500 people. Those pennies are gonna add up, because each of these artists had 500 of these specific tokens or NFTs that people could become owners of. Now, if they're all paying out 500 people, 500 NFTs, $25,000. Is it? Or is it 250? No, it's 250,000, right? I would hope so. I suck at math, man. But if you add 4 zeros and do 5 times 5, 25, and 4 zeros, blah, 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 $250,000 of funding. There we go. I'm not really bad at math. It's just I never do it, so I never train my mind to think. And, you know, it's funny when oftentimes you mess up in videos like this. You just get it wrong. It's funny. But anyways, don't make a fool of yourself, Mike. It's all good. And even if I do, it's all good. It'd be funny, though. Somebody's going to replay it, recap that, and good math, man. And play it back on me. Tag my ass. It'd be hilarious. $250,000, those people can end up earning maybe that much. You know, like, what if this person blows up and they're just an extremely talented artist, but not only talented enough, but they actually take the actions to execute upon making their career an outstanding reality. And they have all these shows, and you can attend not only in person or virtually, but however the hell you want. And you can go meet with them in person and network and create so many connections that would actually help you. Like owning that NFT, you can add. So there's so many value adds that can be had. Royalties can be indefinite, however you want. It's within the name. They're most likely going to do that. They just haven't put it out there yet, right? And if they don't do it, then some other performing artists are going to do something like that. But here we got Gary Vee, who's backing it with Vayner NFT, and they're helping push it into the market, helping Budweiser, who's one of their biggest clients, with their NFT project. It's really, really cool. So I personally thought it was worth investing in that project. I also personally thought it was worth investing in VeeFriends. I own both of them, multiple items of both of them. And I think it's a really good idea to invest in things like this, knowing the upside of the potential of how things could go or how things are going, seeing NFTs and blockchain technology and Web3, which is basically, you see Web 2.0 with domain names and .com, and it's the .com era. That shit blew the fuck up. It blew the fuck up. Late 1990s, early 2000, 95 to 2005, boom. This is the same thing. There's been nothing so technologically advancing and also intention enhancing, where people are focusing their time, their energy, their money into growing something like this. So I really think NFTs, cryptocurrency, Web3 is the way of the future. It really literally is. If you start looking into it, the whole world is going to change around this system where us people trust each other less, but we'll trust codes. We'll trust the blockchain technology. We'll trust the numbers, not so much the people. And we'll make agreements in this way and communicate through smart contracts that have no real tying to the human person, but they do, because it allows you to come into connection with these people and actually have an actual backing, incentivizing, hey, we're actually doing this thing, and it creates community around it. I think one of the great things about NFTs is the community that it inspires. Andy, you look like Andy. He looks like Andy. Holy crap. That's so cool. He really looked like Andy. Wow, it's been years since I've seen that man. Wow. Maybe, okay, he's pulling in somewhere. Maybe I'll stop by and say hello. He really looked like Andy. Wow. But he was a bit smaller, so probably not him. Anyways, technology is so fascinatingly advancing, sometimes to our detriment, right? The metaverse, it's linking us to artificial intelligence, and if there is a direction where things are going, linking your brain to artificial intelligence is not exactly the greatest plan to do, but people are going to be open to it, some will not, and there will be a divide. But with how things are going, we can't really avoid or stop that technological advancement unless everybody just stops, like, nope, not doing it, it's not good for me, I'm not having it, right? So there will be a divide of people who accept that and those who don't. And I think it's going to be really interesting how the world goes with that. But putting yourself in a place where you're investing in something where you're an early adopter and you know technologically it's going to win is really, really exciting. If you look into the markets right now, money's moving somewhere. Money's being liquidated very, very fast. And where is it going? It's a good question mark. Okay, who has got all the money bags putting it somewhere? Somebody in a very high position of power, likely the 1%, and all the people connected with them, the networks, right? Okay. Now, look at where other people's attention is at. If you look up NFT, and if you look up Bitcoin on Google search engine, Bitcoin's the number one search term, and NFT is second to Bitcoin on all of Google, right? And Bitcoin was really heavily searched in 2017. Now NFT is just barely reaching where it's at, kind of close to where it's at now for Bitcoin. But if these are the most searched items, terms on Google, it's worth looking into why they have so much attention there, because attention is money, attention is energy, it's all these things, right? So I really think it's important to speculate, to do your research, and to better understand the market and where people are going with everything that they're owning. Because if we're creating communications and transactions in a way where we can make connections, not only through community, but actual relationships, through collecting things or sharing ideas, which is all of what this is. And it's backed by something that is technologically advancing human society in some capacity. It makes things safer, more secure, more fun, more durable, more efficient, easier. I think there's a lot of positivity that can come from it. So part of my thoughts and ideas, a lot of the things that I wanted to create way back in even 2019, they were ideas that were premature within the scope of what I knew at the time. But now understanding a little bit about blockchain, a little bit about NFTs, these things, I can foresee myself putting together my own project. Now I have to learn more. Now I have to learn more to be able to do that. And when I learn more to be able to do that, it's going to be through the process of documenting what I'm learning and self-reflecting that and sharing it with you. So hopefully all of us can benefit through this. That is why I enjoy living my life within documenting instead of creating something I'm not, because I'm actually loving the process and sharing it with you for you to benefit. So I look forward to doing my own research and having you join me in this journey. Doing 50 hours of homework is a good number that Gary Vee would recommend. Take it from him, not from me. Do your 50 hours of homework and then do even more on each individual project that you're actually going to invest in. Put your money somewhere where you're gonna more likely be holding it long term rather than flipping for the short term, taking very, very high risk. Believe in artists or people who are going to actually execute upon providing value from the IP that you're actually going to be buying. And of course, as recommended, do only spend what you're willing to risk or lose. It's a good idea. It's a risky market. Everything is risky, but there is always a potential upside. So look at things in the long term. Look at the person you're actually investing in, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to matter. I love you, beautiful soul. Thank you for taking your heart, your mind, your eyes into this scope of reality that I'm sharing with you. Have a blessed day and keep taking care of the world, okay? You'll do great.